scenarios this event as what we saw in Vietnam. So if he's not going to clutch, if he's not going to win the 1v3s and the 1v2s, I want to see him having an impact earlier in the round and playing for the team a little bit more. For me, those are the two things to keep an eye on for an Imperial, and for all gamers, well, I mean, any one of their riflers can really step up and do. I think all he has to do is be consistent. So for me, yeah, lots to kind of think about. And obviously as well, what maps are we going to get onto? Well, Mexico, sub-base going to be taken away. And already, you know, that's not ideal, I think, for Imperial. Sub-base, your best map, out of the pool. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, and it feels like the Mexico ban is like their weak map, you know? So they take away their weak map, and then, you know, you don't get to really ban out all gamers' strong maps. And Compound is going to be the first map here from Imperial, so straight off the bat, going to have to play Blacklist Compounds. We'll see how that goes. That's been a fun map this tournament so far.
Yeah, I think this is a strong pick as well. Looking at the bans, I think kind of the dream scenario for Imperial is going to be this map for sure going their way. It has to happen. Eagle Eye as well. I think those two for an early lead for them would be probably the best option they could ask for in the first two maps. And then the third one, I think it comes down to what they can do on a map like Port. I feel like that's probably their best chance to close out the series. So I would expect off of this Black Widow for Imperial to probably come out with the Eagle Eye pick, knowing it was so close in the previous meetup. And all gamers, I'm expecting probably their second pick to be Ankara, considering already in this year 2-0 up against this team on that map. So I feel like pretty expected, I would say, actually, from both teams so far, though Imperial is a little bit stronger in this matchup, I would say, on Black Widow compared to Ankara. So I'm surprised All Gamers doesn't maybe pick that first, but actually Imperial wants to draw it as well. I think it's a little bit of a riskier choice than maybe an Eagle Eye would be here, but maybe they're thinking they can get this done in 3 off of that Black Widow pick. It's definitely possible, but yeah, I feel like the Eagle Eye still would have been stronger from them.
Maybe they just think in their heads like, well, we lost to that team on that map. Even though in our heads, like from the outside, we saw it was close. Maybe Imperial are like, let's take a different direction with this. And it's going to be all gamers that pick up the Eagle Eye. They do want to play that before the Port. So Port, once again, map 5 did kind of become slowly our least played map in this tournament. And it doesn't really change here for the end of this series.
Yeah, 3 sniper-heavy maps to begin with, though, like Compound, Black Widow, and Ankara are maps where the snipers can have a lot of impact. Even Eagle Eye, like actually the entire map pool, to be fair, really does feel like you can look at Gokun and say, okay, this is the map where he can step up and really make a difference and maybe put Imperial on his back a little bit. Whereas, again, if we were on sub-base or Mexico, you might say, okay, well, ADR referees are probably going to be the ones you would look at. But either way, I mean, that's good news, actually, for Imperial. Gokun tends to be their star player on paper. Doesn't always work out that way, but if you set him up for success, the theory is that you set Imperial up for success. And with this map pool, I do feel Imperial have been able to do that.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down to, honestly, that first pick here. It's a bit riskier than I was expecting for them, but if they can get that early momentum on their side, it's definitely where they want to be in this series, because I feel like Imperial is one of the more momentum-based teams that's left in this tournament. If they go down 1-0, it's very rare you see this team bounce back compared to a lot of the others we've seen so far.
Yeah, absolutely. This first map is crucial. It is critical for both sides. All gamers, of course, they want to just stem the tide. They want to stop Imperial before they get started. They want to, you know, not get too far behind the 8-ball, as it seems like the team has not done their cheer yet, and Gokun will be sat back down. It's not time.
Sit down, boy.
It's not ready. We haven't signed the papers yet. Probably, I would assume.
They're getting back up again. You can see as I turn around and look at the stage. That's
Ref
the
doesn't get it.
Luxury that we are given. Being in the what would you call this? The arena?
Yeah.
Because it feels a bit like an arena. I mean, it's not a stadium, but you could call it an arena. And one of these teams will make it to the stadium. One misses out, which is a bit sad, I think, if you would go to the start of the tournament and say, what's your power rankings to any of us? It's probably Baisha, AG, I mean, we had this discussion really on the early days, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we were not too sure about X-Rock. I kind of had X-Rock out of mind, and that proved to be correct in the end. I think I probably would have had Imperial and then maybe Pacific Makta after the first couple of days. Probably Imperial, I want to say Cara House if it was before the tournament.
Yeah.
I think that might have been a bit of a throw, but anyway, that's fine.
There was a little bit of discussion about Vincent as well. I think, Kyle, you
Sure.
were mentioning, you know, maybe like a 5th or a 4th.
Well, they're in the top
list.
4.
And they have made it through.
The
It's
point
always
is,
fun to do it early and then like
Yeah.
see how it all plays out, because, you know, we can have our thoughts, but at the end of the day, it really does come down to how the teams play.
yeah, I mean, the point is obviously of that we all would have had Baisha, we all would have had AG, and I think the majority probably would have had Imperial, which means we're going to miss out on at least one of those teams that everyone sort of anticipated seeing in the top 4. And for better or worse, instead we get Ranking, who I'm happy to see there.
Goken doesn't say anything else after the initial shout. He's
No.
like, all right, okay.
He's a bit more of
Done.
a serene individual.
Serene individual.
The ones that make a lot of noise, I think Fei definitely. Ryu's out.
Luke Calm.
Yeah. Whereas Goken's like, all right, down to business.
I'm just here to snipe people. I'm not really interested in anything else. And that he generally does.
A lot of build-up for this first map. Compound, I feel like pretty good pick for Imperial here on this one. I definitely see why they went for it. I feel like Goken in particular likes these maps where he can kind of carve out a place for himself, and Compound, that tower spot, definitely has his name written all over it. I think it's going to be where we see him a lot in this one. For all gamers though, I am curious to see if they have any of the consistency issues we saw in some of their earlier matchups. I feel like Even's one of those players that's been very hot and cold in this event so far. Had a lot of off moments in their match against LCK and eventually stepped it up for that third map, but yeah, I feel like Imperial in this position, if you're going to catch AG, first map I think is always the best time to do it because they always come in a little bit cold.
Little bit sleepy. Little bit sleepy. I mean, you're right. Like, those are the maps that all gamers have lost in this event so far. Lost sub-base map 1 to LCK day 1. Very first game of the tournament. And to be fair though, Imperial also lost their first map, and that was to Kangana on Mexico.
And then we never saw Mexico again
Nope.
from Imperial. They banned it every single time after that. And they didn't have the best showing on that map either. It didn't allow Goken to really play a sniper at all. So it kind of makes sense for the team. But again, we've talked about how it can be it can feel a little unfortunate when you have to ban out your weak map rather than your opponent's strong map.
Yep. I think the issue today for Imperial is going to be the rifling core. I definitely see all gamers as having a bit of a stronger rifling core. The 4 riflers on all gamers all feel like they can have big standout games. We tend not to talk about even all that much, but ZY, ZQ definitely the 2 on the tip of the tongue, and even Jue, he gets in that conversation a little bit, whereas Fei definitely not part of it for Imperial. He's going to be good for a 1-for-1 usually, and LKK on the outskirts as well. But let's find out if our opinions are correct or if Imperial has a different story to tell us. It is time for map 1 between All Gamers and Imperial, the last game of the knockout stage, and the last time we'll see one of these two teams in the CFS 2023 Grand Finals.
This first map, we've said it many times, we got to see big things from both teams. All gamers, I think if they can slowly win, that's okay. They don't have to come out here and absolutely blast Imperial out of the water. You know, it's Imperial's map pick. All gamers can start slow and then eventually hit their stride. For Imperial, though, Blacklist side, you got to start here on Compound. It's not going to be favored. It is your favored map, though, as your first pick. So no doubt they will have strategies prepared here for the Blacklist side. We have had mixed emotions and feelings about some of the strategical play on this map. Some teams definitely making 7 cringe a little bit. But I'm hoping that Imperial can show us a new level of strategy on this one. The Brazilian team's generally known to be pretty strategically sound, as we did see from Vincent Gaming.
Well, it's not as if they haven't had time to work on things either coming into this. The last game that they played was day 4. And that was actually against All Gamers. So it's funny that the last match that these two teams played was against one another in the event, but day 5, 6, and 7, they didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, at least they've gotten time to study those VODs, learn, and come back a little bit differently than they maybe did before. The one thing, though, All Gamers loves to do is give up mid to B. A lot of teams in the current metagame on this map give up mid to B. I'm still not 100% sure why that is, but it's very, very commonplace on the GR side to kind of just leave that open for the majority of the round. And you can see here, there's only one person kind of holding on that mid-B split. It's going to be ZY, actually sniping, which is pretty uncommon for him to do, but he's going to be running it in this one. But it's ADRF almost gets the kill onto Shui. They just kind of steamroll their way into the A bomb site. Gokun finds the follow-up. ZQ and ZY go down. Do goes down as well, and what is this? 1-on-4 already, even just stuck on the retake.
Tell you what, Even never looks particularly pleased, but I think in this case especially, 1v4, he's like, well guys, I was anchoring B. What are you doing? First kill will go cleanly over to Even, but now that his position is known, that'll be dealt with accordingly. And Imperial will pick up the first round. So there's that discussion we were having. All Gamers coming into the game pretty cold.
Yeah, not a great round from them, but great entry frags from the side of Imperial. They just wait for a long time, and then eventually we get mid to A. And Adrian clean on the first shot, Gokun with the follow-up. And after they made it onto the site, it just looked pretty... It was almost like All Gamers were not ready to fight. Like they were kind of like just running away. Dude was like, oh no, I don't want to fight against you. Although he did get the 1 kill, but... Yeah, pretty clean stuff from Imperial to start us off. And All Gamers definitely will need to stop that kind of strategy multiple times from this GR side on this map, as Du is way up in the sky there.
I feel like I've never actually seen this boost before, though. It's something brand new I think they're bringing out for this. It's pretty uncommon, but maybe it pays off here. ZY, again, though, kind of struggling in the B tunnels to find any value with that AWM in hand, but it's going to be All Gamers still kind of taking their time in this one, playing pretty safe, but I do worry after seeing their response to the mid-aggression in the first round, because now Imperial knows that's a really valuable option in this matchup, and on a GR-sided map, having a big hole in your defense can come back to bite you quite a bit, and they haven't really changed too much strategically in this round.
Yeah, pretty straight up so far. This time Jay's going to get out in front of it, and that's a nice little snipe from Du as well, who has hopped down. That's 3 kills to stop the push, make it 4. As Dway, the timing from him was perfect, and now it's just Gokun. Only gets the 1. And Du and Dway pretty much just say, okay, well, they're probably going to send it again. They get the very nice timing on the peaks, and Imperial's push totally falls away.
Well, that was two sides of the same coin, really, wasn't it? Similar strategy from Imperial. One round goes super cleanly. The other round goes very cleanly in the opposite direction. First couple of rounds of Compound, I don't feel really have told us a lot. Need to see a bit more. One thing, though, that is to be sure is that Imperial will continue to play this rather slow Blacklist side that we've come accustomed to, not just from them, but I think in general from the Brazilian teams, right? You'd be looking at that last series and thinking, wow, that best of 5 went kind of quick. And it was a lot of fast score lines, right? We had 10-4s, we had 10-5s. But it's not just that, it's just that some of the rounds like literally last 20 seconds. But you're not going to really get those kinds of rounds when Imperial is on the blacklist side. And even all gamers tend not to be one of those teams that's really going to play a super fast style. So honestly, even if this goes to like a 3-0, we might have a series that lasts potentially nearly as long as what we just had.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a good point. Could happen here, and we'll see if any team tries to break that kind of expected pace, because I think that's important over the course of a best of 5. You can't just sit here and say, okay, we're going to do the same push over and over on the same timing. Like, here we come again, 50 seconds in, we're going mid to A. Well, like, you're just going to get red.
It's 3 rounds in a row, right, where Imperial have played sub 1 minute left on the clock before they've actually decided to make their push.
At least they're going in a slightly different direction this time. Seven does talk a lot about how if you are going to push on to A, you will need some kind of pressure from long. And it does look like Imperial want to set that up here.
It's a tough call, though, considering they might be going right into this stack. Jue here has really one of the best positions you could ask for if they do stack a lot of members on long, but now it's really just Gokun here, but Gokun gets caught by Jue, and now they have to pull the trigger anyways. 25 seconds on the clock. They're working aggressively to get up mid to B, but what is the bomb doing? There's no time to waste. The bomb's just sitting in the backside of mid, hoping they can get an opening here to go back on to A, but still, all that needs to happen is one player stays alive here, and Do is going to find it. 10 seconds on the clock. The bomb carrier's down, and Imperial, they can't do anything about it, even with the kills.
Oh, yep, pretty much. That is going to be the round over. That is the problem. That is the problem with the style that Imperial brings. It's like you have 2.5 minutes to play with. It is never acceptable to not be able to plant the bomb. It means you've made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah,
I waited too long.
I do think that maybe they're trying to get into their opponent's heads and really go for like really the last moment, so they're not expecting it. But like,
I get that.
That doesn't. It doesn't seem to be a very good strategy.
You want to use as much time
like,
is available to you, right? You want to use that time. But the thing is, you need to be doing something with that time.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, it sometimes feels like Imperial are not doing a whole lot with their time, right? They're just chilling, waiting to see if they're going to get some kind of aggression, and you can make the argument that that is actually doing something, setting up default, waiting for your opponents to push. But I'm not sure that you're going to get that against a team like AG, right? It's not something that they tend to really love doing. Obviously, ZY's gone for a microaggression over there towards the tunnels on the B side of the map. But it's definitely something that Imperial are prone to doing. They're prone to leaving these rounds a little bit too late. So,
yeah,
need to have a look back at plan B.
I guess if you sit here every time, and ZY is going to be like, wow, they're just sitting here staring at this angle. This is weird. Because sometimes, especially the Chinese teams, they want to push from GR and get a little bit of information. But if you're always just standing there waiting for that push from GR as the blacklist-sided team, then eventually maybe the GR side just won't start doing that anymore. They'll start not checking. They will start not looking for information, and maybe you can use that. So, you know, Drake coming out here as well, maybe they could get a pick on that scenario, stuff like that. But here's Gokun, who is going to get it. I mean, that's a couple of picks, and this time around, you're going 5v3 on the push, even though it is coming at a very similar timing.
Yeah, I mean, in this one, it in theory shouldn't go wrong, particularly if you choose to go toward the A site. To see a multi-frag here from Do that's going to be enough to save the day is unlikely, especially with OKK on the other side of the map. But let's see what Do can manage here, actually. He's kind of allowing a little bit too much space to be created by Imperial, and ultimately Feifei will take down the one threat that could have made the difference for all gamers. 12 seconds left on the timer, and Imperial will get the plant. But you get what I'm talking about. It is a much slower game than what we saw between Ranking and Xrock. Probably would have been in 6 or 7 rounds by now if the other game was still taking place.
Nice way to tie it up, though, from Imperial. They get it done a little bit slowly, but it's working out for them. All gamers, they're getting a little bit antsy on these pushes. You could see here with the start of round pick onto ZY. Jue as well, leaking out a little bit too much, and Imperial that's the game they've got to play here, I think. If you peek into 5 members of AG, you're probably not making it out alive. But if you can get them to be a little bit overzealous, give up a pick early on, that's kind of your win condition here on the BL side.
I would love to see a statistic of average round timer for each team. Because I reckon Imperial's average round time would be like more than 2 minutes.
Probably. I mean, a lot of times if you do plant the bomb as well, you're going to add a
Yep.
good 40 seconds. So, yeah, wouldn't be too surprised. But yeah, you know, like maybe now all gamers are like, well, can't really push out on these guys. They are just going to sit here. So not going to get too much information. But you will see that at least they've got Dway pretty far up in a tunnel. So that could be a nice little angle for him. That is a position where if multiple people are going into that room, you're probably not getting out alive unless you totally wipe them. So definitely a nice little committal to the information game, regardless of the way the first 4 rounds have gone. Let's see what Imperial decide to do here. Looks like they do want to challenge him, and this is, you know, he's out here. There are multiple people charging him, and they are going to get the kill.
No commitment, though. They're going to back off, reset a little bit towards this mid side of the map, and would not be surprised to see a late execution out of mid, maybe to B. And the way they're set up, they still have LKK in the tunnels working his way towards that B pick. But again, there's not much to be had, but Dude's going to find a bit here. Takes down Gokun. Now they're looking for something to answer back with. 40 seconds on the clock, and hey, Adrian's going to find it. Surprised to see him pick up the arm for it, but it'll pay off.
So 3 to defend with 4 all gamers. Time ticking away again, sub 30 seconds before the commitment is being made, and ZY, he is there with the orb. This could get a bit messy. Shot is missed though as Ryuzao jumps over it. However, even claims one more. All gamers unable to deny the bomb crossing into the B site. And Imperial are lucky in that respect because that would have been their round over. ZQ, however, can't clutch it out. And a lot of noise being made. Imperial feel that is an important round to win. That was a shot. I mean, he actually connected that one into Gokun. All right.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see Imperial's strategy here working so well for them, but it almost seems like all gamers is giving them a little bit too much. The opportunities are there, and Imperial, if they keep getting them, they'll take this same approach the entirety of the map. And all gamers, I feel like they're not really playing in a way that's counter to what's going on against them. They're almost just going for these single frags, peeking out alone, getting impatient, and then they're taken out for it. If they're going to be aggressive, it's not necessarily a bad call if they're doing it together, going for a 2v1, aggressive peek, fall off together, and at least secure a trade. But it just seems like they're relying too much on one of these OMs to find the first kill.
Yeah, which is why I think the strategy in this round was pretty good. You know, challenge into pillars, push them over to one side of the map, and then you can back off. But don't just peek in alone, get picked off, and then it's like, oh no, what happened? We have 3 people left as they push into B. Definitely going to be pretty difficult to stop that one. So Imperial's strategy working out so far. They're ahead here on the Blacklist side. As now probably going into B here once again, but some utility to delay. Let's see if they do commit to this, as yes, they will make it in, but ZY, this flash is going to be pretty good, even though not checked in the corner. He will pick up 1, picks up 2, denies the plant, and now Do and the rest of the squad has made it over here. Ryuzao against 4. Not looking good for him. He's going to give it a go. He does pick up 1, but at the end of the day, all gamers will pick up another round to tie things up.
Pretty clean one. Definitely feels like a back and forth game at the moment. Neither team really getting on top. A huge spray down. Well done from Even. I love watching the different styles of riflers that we get at this event, right? You talk about the one tap type style, right? Famous, obviously, but Humio also feels like he's definitely a tap based player. If he doesn't hit the headshot, it's like no hope. Whereas someone like Even, and in fact actually a lot of the All Gamers members prefer to hold their spray. And you can see how Even makes it work in that case.
Imperial this time changing up the strategy a little bit more. early pillars control with 4. But still nothing more out of it. They're not peeking yet towards site, just holding on and waiting for all gamers to potentially push out. If they had done it in the last round, might have been a little bit better timing from them on that type of play, but with ZY just sniping passively on the other side, it's more just going to be a safe approach here from all gamers.
Another slow round from Imperial. Default setup towards A, mid. Bit of presence in the tunnels, but only at around, again, the 1 minute on the clock left mark. Do they start to make their push happen? It's a good start.
Yeah, definitely is. Doesn't look like Goken quite got that one. He's going to see Dway, though, making his way over. That's some good information for the team.
C4's been left in blacklist spawn, so there's definitely every opportunity they make the call to go back to A based on the information Goken's getting.
Ooh.
They could get him.
He is running away. Does go back up. And now even looking to assassinate. He's not going to get it. The rest of the squad comes over. And there was that angle there. You see Lucom trying to get the back of ZQ while the rest of the team, it's only 20 seconds left. They're going to look to go into A, you'd imagine, with all the players over on B, as Deuce trying to stop this with just a Colt. And that's not going to be good enough. Ruzal comes in, trying to stop the rotation from making their way in. And with 8 seconds left, they get this bomb planted. And ZQ trying to trade one back. Dway here with the AK, not going to have much luck. ZQ alone against a lot of low health members on the side of Imperial, but it doesn't matter. The Colt gets the job done, and Imperial pick up another round to maintain the lead.
I feel like Imperial are just getting away with too much here. These rounds don't seem like they should be so favorable for them, but I feel like all gamers are just losing their patience, getting too anxious, and then you also have someone like Ryuzao who can just open up the site completely at the last moments when the enemies are not ready for them to be there. It's a good look here for Imperial. Even though they are playing a little bit slower, it's actually causing all gamers to make more mistakes in these late round situations. So I definitely like what they're up to so far. And if they can make this a 5-round half even on a GR-sided map, they're looking really good for their odds to take map number 1.
Yeah, what do you do if you're all gamers, though? It's like, well, you could play more aggressive, but that's kind of what Imperial is waiting for, right? If you start to try to push into them, they're already set up for it. They're not moving until 40 seconds left on the clock, so the chances of finding a timing are significantly diminished when there's just 4 or 5 guys watching every angle.
Yeah, I think your best shot is to, well, let's wait and see how this one is going to go as the rest of the team of Imperial is making their way in, but 2 guys in position. That flash is pretty good, but even not going to find the trades as ZY hops out. He's got a knife out right now, not going to hit it. Doesn't matter as the team, the 2 of them have defended against so many, and they have stopped this push. Dway also makes his way over just to help out. Meanwhile, Rizal with the bomb over on the other side of the map.
Yeah, he's Bing chilling, isn't he?
So maybe Imperial just going to wait and see. Ooh, that angle not great for Goken. Easy peek for Dway as Lucum going to pick up 1, picks up 2. Quick headshot as well.
Draws the rotation. That's what they're waiting for. That is what Imperial has been looking for this whole time. Rizal's been really patient toward A.
He's got to wait until there's 20 seconds left. That's,
you're right.
That's the game plan, the
No
rule.
doubt. No doubt about it.
You can see ZQ thinking about going back to the A bomb site, but Ryuzao, he's already on it. But this is where Lucum has to take the gamble. Does he assume this bomb gets planted safely and stay in the tower, or does he go in to support this side? It looks like the bomb is going to get planted here. ZQ's starting to catch on to it, but it's actually a really good post-plan setup. It's planted for the mid-tower. He can now play off the bomb on long if he wants to, or play underneath on the vent. And I like this call from Imperial. I mean, they have a crossfire that's not going to be expected. I doubt anyone checks the tower position, and Lucum, he just has to hit the shots here. It's going to be a matter of time, but all gamers, they've got to move faster. They're not on the BL side here. They've got to move, but Lucum, They have no idea still. He's just holding the bomb. Even if they kill Ryu's out here, there's just no time to win the round. Lukum gets one from the tower, and now they know exactly where he is. But surely not. Okay. A little dicey there, but you know what, Imperial, they got it done exactly how they needed to. These last-minute rounds, they're so risky to try and do this way, but when you're hitting the shots and setting up the strats, it works out.
I can't believe it. 5-3. Yeah, I mean it's been solid from Imperial. Are we going to get the same brand again?
Yes. It is working. There's no reason to stop it, and I don't think that all gamers are reacting very well to it. You know, there's either you come out guns a-blazing and you find some kind of angle that Imperial aren't expecting, or I think you kind of have to wait for them to actually commit, and then you have to make the right call defensively on a site. I don't think sending 1 or 2 guys out here to fight the entirety of Imperial is ever really going to work. I think that trying to delay with utility and trying to look for better opportunities with more of your team is going to work against this passive play style.
Honestly, the thing is, you don't even have to delay with your utility. The better play is actually to hold your util to use it in the last 30 seconds. That's something that I think all gamers kind of need to adapt a little bit. Like, they're still throwing a lot of their util early on in the piece, and it's pretty obvious that Imperial's really not going to do a whole lot until around 1 minute left on the clock. So let's not push. Let's hold our util and dump it when there's less time on the clock and try to unsettle Imperial a little bit. The problem is, obviously, for Imperial, you're not really going to be too used to, for all gamers, you're not really going to be used to playing against this style because, I mean, we look at the game from Extra and how fast they played, and you think about Baisha. Neither of those two teams are going to play like this, and let's be real, they're probably the only reasonable competition for all gamers domestically. So outside of these international events, how exposed are you actually to this slower style? No wonder that all gamers are struggling against it.
To be fair, they did have 2 maps of this already, which they won, so you'd think they know what they're up against.
I don't think it was this slow, though.
I mean, there was rounds where they were going in with 15 seconds and not even getting the time to plant the bomb in that first matchup, so it's definitely been shown before, but I feel like the difference here is they're actually hitting the shots on top of it, which makes it even more obnoxious, I think, to deal with. But now they've got a 5-on-2.
It's every round as well. It's got to be getting frustrated for all gamers. Like, I've been watching this timer because obviously it freezes every single time the plant goes down. By the way, another round for Imperial, 6-3 half. It was like 12 seconds, 11 seconds, 8 seconds. That was like, what, 17,
yeah.
So, and then that's like, what, 4? There's just so many instances where it's been so late in the round.
Yeah.
And all gamers are going to be getting frustrated. Like, I'm getting frustrated watching it, you know, and I'm not even playing the game.
And Imperial, there's no reason, like, they're really happy with the way it's going because they're like, yeah, Dway's probably going to peek us now.
Yeah, mate.
There he goes. Like, Goken's just watching the angle. Free kill.
Slow and steady wins the race.
ZY's going to push out into pillars. Okay, he's dead. Like, now we can go for the push. It is pretty elementary. I think that, you know, all gamers have not responded to this very well. Let's see what they can do from the Blacklist side, which is generally not easy or as easy as the Global Risk side on this one. And now Imperial, you know, you're bound to play pretty passive from the Global Risk side unless you're really looking for information plays or, you know, aggressive against the grain plays. But Imperial, from what they've shown, it's not really their brand. Maybe they'll throw it in, you know, 1 round or something, try to mix it up, but they haven't even done that yet. So I think they'll just sit here and wait for all gamers to make a play.
Fair enough.
It's the right call.
That's the play style.
Slow and steady has worked for 6 rounds out of the 9, but this time it is going to be a pinch from Adrian that's completely destroyed. Jue with the flick around takes down 2, but they still have to deal with Feifei on the B bomb site, but Feifei misses the shot, and this should be the round now for all gamers. It's really going to be on to Goken on this flank to get something done.
Difficult site to retake, that's for sure. Goken, as you say, all eyes on him. He has been someone in the past that has clutched very well for Imperial. And he usually keeps himself in reserve for those clutches as well, which might put him in a good stead here, but we'll see what Feifei can do. I think Feifei, you get one here and maybe leave the rest to Gokun. No! It's going to have to go the other direction. And it will be all gamers to start the second half with a round of their own.
Yeah, that one they push into mid, and you see that Imperial are the ones that come out to try to respond to this push early. But the shots ring true for Dway. A couple of headshots on the 180 angle, literally a 180 no scope, and you know it's not 360, but it's still pretty good. Gokun now, he's coming out here very aggressively, trying to get something, but even going to open up with a kill already onto Feifei. And that's a great start once again for all gamers here on the attack.
Yeah, now if I'm all gamers, I almost just send it on to this B bomb site. That's what they're going to start doing here. Adrian goes down, the rotation comes through, but now they start to slow it down a little bit. Sending a few players back to pillars, maybe even out into mid. Lukum gonna hit a nice headshot onto Dway, and now ZY is very, very low as well. It's a pretty even situation for the remainder of the round, but all gamers, they're still just kind of lurking here in the pillars area, waiting to see what's going to happen and kind of just taking a note from the Imperial playbook on the BL.
Suppose if you can't beat them, join them. I suppose you don't necessarily anticipate a huge amount of pace from all gamers either. They do tend to be one of the more methodical of the Chinese teams, which we're getting a look at here on Compound. Still a very winnable round actually for Imperial. Got a fast rotator in Ryu Zhao and Gokun on the push out from the A site as well. So information there for Imperial. They know more or less that this is going to be a B-site take. They've stacked the deck in their favor, and it's worked out really nicely. Ryu Zhao, he's cleaned up too, and in the meanwhile, LKK hasn't even dropped either. Where's the rest of all gamers? They're not pushing their way in. This has gone horribly wrong. It was a 4-on-3, and it might end up being 3 Imperial members to survive. ZY says otherwise, but Gokun will finish it, and that's a big one for Imperial.
Yeah, I mean, they're feeling it on this map for sure. You could see the round started a bit. Unfortunately, didn't matter because, again, Ryu Zhao knows exactly what to do from that position. You've got to be the one to peek aggressively first and set up LKK for that late round positioning. And he does it so well. And honestly, he's the reason this is so heavily in their favor. 16-7 against a team like All Gamers is a crazy scoreline to have for yourself.
Yeah, he's having a bit of a day out. Certainly benefiting a lot from the way that first half went, helping to carry the team into those sites when they needed it the most. And regardless of the timing, has been very good. Imperial now going to pick up their first round here on the global risk side. All gamers, again, you know, it looked like they had a pretty good setup, but just waited so long. And the information play from Imperial actually worked out. And it's one thing that all gamers couldn't quite do on their end from the global risk side. So probably not feeling too happy with that. Going to try to go with a similar push to what they did in the first round of Blacklist. Similar setup here on the defense from Imperial. Double stack over towards B. Adrian looking to hop out at the right time. He's going to pick up one, but Du does pick up one as well as Feifei trying to come in from behind. Lukum here in the spawn is going to be isolated by Du as well, picking up his second. And now they make their way onto the site pretty much for free.
It's going to be a nice nade over the top there from Feifei. Du down low, and Gokun, does he know where he is? Yes, he does, but he misses the shots. He's going to have to get the follow through, gets one on the way down, but I mean, Feifei, 15 HP and a dream in this one. They know exactly where he is as well, and there shouldn't be any chance he wins the round. But Shui, how did he not see him? Doesn't matter. ZQ gets the peak anyways, but almost a scary moment.
It's definitely being brought back. AG are not out of this fight just yet. Oh, conversations to be had. Someone's getting in trouble. But 5-7, you know, it's not a bad place to be necessarily for all gamers. Do have a bit more mid presence this time from Imperial. Nade in there as well. Doesn't connect onto anyone. Seems like neither team on the blacklist side wants to go really fast at all. So a lot of the early util that you're seeing thrown kind of ends up being ineffective or even potentially pointless. Like, you could be holding a grenade in reserve still here for Imperial. Even the smoke out towards A long, probably not necessary this early on in the round, and think about what a difference that could make later on.
I like the setup from Imperial, trying to just make sure that they have presence in mid and not allow the push to happen through mid for free, which has been the majority of the successful pushes from both teams from the blacklist side. It's been, you know, have a little fun in the pillars and then go mid, or, you know, poke through A long and then go mid. And that's kind of the way that compound can play out from the blacklist side oftentimes. And yeah, you see Imperial trying to get a nice little crossfire going. Not too uncommon, but a little bit more aggressive than the standard from the Global Risk side, especially because sometimes just holding on to the sites can be strong as well. As there, that crossfire is going to come in. Adrian and Fefe going to help to stop this one. And in fact, you see all gamers, they're trying to push in towards B, but they have no mid presence at all after that play.
I'm not really too sure what that is from ZY. Like, I understand they've got the smoke on the left side toward A, but he's just pushing in there on his own. So it's a bit of a risk, and it hasn't paid off this time around. So now it's down to all gamers with the numbers deficit to make something happen. They have, at the very least, taken Gokun out of the picture, but they've stalled it up again outside of B, and that's allowed the rotation to come through from Imperial. 4-on-4 for the take.
They already have the numbers on site, but it might not matter for long unless Lukum can hold on. He's good for one, but he needs a lot more than that to save this round, and he's not going to find it. Ryuzao on the quick flank. They've got to plant the bomb, but Ryuzao doesn't matter. Du takes him down, and all gamers will find a crucial round for themselves.
Yeah, I think Du with the 3K in that one, opening it up on the entry, and generally it's pretty difficult to push into B. But not only that, Imperial were set up. They had multiple members in the site, in the servers. They knew exactly where all gamers were. And all gamers didn't have anyone in mid to help with the push. So generally, in that scenario, the percentage chance that's going to work is very low from the blacklist side. But they still manage it, just very crisp on those entry shots. Imperial maybe falling apart a little bit here. There was a pause requested. Wouldn't be surprised if that's on the side of Imperial after the way that round did just go. As, again, the entry pretty clean. Fefe does pick up 2, though, to help this one just a bit.
Yeah, it also gives time for Lukum to get onto the bomb side as well. So they've got that presence back on B. All gamers as well. ZQ down to half for the remainder of the round. And this time, it doesn't seem like they're going to full commit yet. You can see Du trying to find something on the flank, hoping that Imperial might get overly aggressive, but I don't think that's in their wheelhouse today on this map. Playing extremely safe. They've got Ryuzao posted up in mid, and they are fairly spread out, so still a 3-on-1 wherever they decide to go for all gamers, but it really is going to put that pressure onto Lukum in this round, I think.
Those long flanks are something that Gokun is pretty known to do, but usually not until very late in the round. So you're probably not getting it about a minute and a half to go, maybe with 30 seconds left. In the end, Du not going to be successful in his initial mission, but has another one now to try and find an opening pick into B. That too might be called off.
Yeah. I was laughing because Kyle's like, it doesn't seem like they want to push yet. I'm like, yeah, they got to wait until 30 seconds in the round.
It's true.
And then they're going to go for the push. And you know what? Ryuzao's going to take that opportunity to say, okay, I see your rotation. I get the jump on the first guy. And he's even challenging into more. Not sure about that. Could have just taken the 3v2 in the defensive scenario. Kind of unfortunate, but hey, if he gets the kill, I guess it would have been nice. Either way, it's not going to be nice at this point, but Lucom's got a great position now as they try to move in towards B. And he's going to be the one that backs away, tries to take a more passive positioning here, perhaps allowing them to plant first. He's going to get the drop on a Du. And now it's up to even 1v2. This is not going to be easy for him by any means, although he nearly takes out Gokin. And there it is. Lucom is going to pick up the kill and make this a win for the side of Imperial.
Yeah, a little bit of a mishap there for Du, who was kind of floating around in no man's land. Like, you're in the site, even is actually able to get the bomb plant down safely because you forced that player away from the site. I think you can just play it a bit more chill, try to play out the 2-on-2, but he ended up trying to hunt the frag, and that gave up his kill as well, and even unable to secure it in the 2-on-1. Timeout from Imperial. Brings with it a little bit of a different look, given that they did win that last round. Back on top. Remember, we did say if Imperial was going to get it done, we would want to see it happening early on in the series, and it may happen here actually on Compound. Like, it is getting pretty down to the wire. This is where Imperial have to learn how to clutch up, because they had a similar situation on Eagle Eye in their last meeting, and they did actually end up squandering that 10-8. But for Imperial, another good chance. And this one feels even more influential, right? Okay, it's one thing to lose a group stage, but in an elimination, in the knockout stage, I mean, this could be huge for Imperial, right? It would be then the second Chinese team getting knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big opportunity too, knowing they'll likely play ranking next if they make it through as well, a team they historically beat the majority of the time as well. So I feel like for Imperial, this is kind of a golden opportunity if they can take down All Gamers. Now is the time to do it, because if you beat them here, you don't have to beat them twice to win this tournament, which for Imperial would be a huge step forward in the right direction, knowing Baish is the only team that they haven't beat consistently. They would have to beat twice to win.
Yeah, definitely a good start, at least in this series. Big round clutch there at the end. Ryu Zhao getting some good information early on, allowing his team to get in position to defend the B site. All Gamers, will they switch anything up, or is it just going to be more Pillars pressure into a mid push eventually, which has been kind of the name of the game here from both teams. As for now, All Gamers just going to wait here in the middle of the map. We do have a big stack from Imperial in the A tunnels. Up to 3 guys over on the left side of the map. 1 guy holding the back side of B, and it's Fefe, who hasn't necessarily been that solid. He has picked up an Alm for himself.
Yeah, this is just a pray. I hope and pray that they actually go to A from Imperial. Because in the end, if they go toward B, the best you're going to get from Feifei is a 1-to-1, and then you're going to have to play a 4-on-4 post-plant. But All Gamers faster into mid, and it does look like they might end toward A. Initial frags go back and forth. Gokin and Do, the 2 snipers, able to chime in 1 apiece, but in the end it is starting to step up for Imperial. Gokin with the pistol out is doing so much work in this round. But the B site, the rotation has been cut off. Feifei is down, even is behind Gokin, who will let him past. ZQ in on the site, has the C4, but he doesn't have the space to plant until even clears things out. Now the C4 is down. So another big one on offer here for Imperial. 2-on-2 post plant. HP even. Time, plenty of it.
It's going to come down to Gokin's positional choice here. He has to be very careful with this low HP. He has to find one before going down, but they are running out of time to make this happen. Halftime off the clock already. Adrian looking to lead in with the utility. They spot out even, get the kill through the wall. ZQ has no HP to work with, but they've got to just charge his positioning here. One of them's already sticking the bomb, but they don't check the right location for the retake onto site. And ZQ, that is a massive round to win for All Gamers.
That was pretty key because Gokin came in with, I think it was Lucom or Adrian, the other guy, and they didn't clear the top side, so they didn't know he could have been hiding there. He could have been in somewhere in the computers, but the one place they didn't check was long, and they weren't ready for him to just peek out at the exact right time. So definitely a very nice clutch moment there for the side of All Gamers, as now Gokin has got the wrap on him, and his Colt play is insane, picks up 2 headshots, and now Imperial are a 5v2 all of a sudden.
Yeah, and also a 5v2 where they don't hold on to the bomb control. So if everyone from Imperial just ran into mid right now, they could try to hold on to that C4, and I don't think there'd be a whole lot that Even and ZY could really do about it. ZY is going to have to make an individual play here, but it is the Gokun show at the moment. That is 4 for the round from him. LKK will drop, and it's on to Gokun here. He looks for the ace. He won't quite land the shot onto Even, but Even still. Even is low. He'll get Gokun. Rains on his parade, but that is Imperial on map point.
I mean, things are looking good for them on their map choice. Still a little bit shaky to get some of these rounds, but not so much in this one. I mean, Gokun sneaking up mid, back-to-back one-taps with the Colt, and then, of course, this final shot onto ZY, really just solidifying what he can do in this matchup. On the other side, though, ZY not having the best of games, someone we normally see pretty strong for this All Gamers lineup, 5 and 14 out of him, not really playing his best game on the day just yet.
Gonna need to step it up for 2 rounds if they want to have any hope of bringing this one back. All Gamers definitely coming out a bit slow as we expected. We talked about this first map being very crucial for both sides. All Gamers trying not to get the momentum over to the side of Imperial, and Imperial, of course, trying to start off strong. And they have. It has been mostly domination from them, especially starting off on the Blacklist side even. They looked very comfortable. They came in with a very specific strategy that All Gamers weren't too happy with, and it worked out pretty well. And now Imperial 1 round away from going into the next stage of this best of 5.
Gokun a little bit risky on the positional choice. It's kind of a one-and-done spot for an Om to play, but maybe he can find them early or just fall into that corner and get the trade set up for Lukum in this one. But All Gamers, they really want to go in on this B bomb site. Gokun, he's right there and ready for them. You can see ZQ going for the wide peak. I think Gokun actually spotted the barrel as well. You can see he falls off and rotates back to a safer angle on the back of sight, setting up for that rotation to start to come to life for Imperial. But again, All Gamers, they've shown their hand and they're taking a little bit too long to get in. Lukum, good for 1. Gokun whiffs the shots. Doesn't matter. Lukum gets the triple, almost the quad, even left alone. And Gokun seals the deal with a double. Imperial win 10-7 on map 1.